There's this crazy moment toward the end of Hannah Brown's Bachelorette season. She's down to her final 4 contestants, and she's having an argument with one of them, Luke Parker.
I just want to make sure you're not going to be, sexually intimate with, the other relationships here.
The thick-chinned and thin-skinned man is expressing his desire that Hannah not have sex with anyone until marriage.
Like if you told me you're having sex or you had sex with one or multiple of these guys, I would be wanting to go home.
It's like, why do you have the right to do that? Because you're not my husband, and you're not.
Can I cut you off for a second?
No.
Okay.
It's just that you're questioning me, that you're judging me, and feel like you have the right to when you don't at this point.
Disgusted with being treated like a child, Hannah gets up and tells Luke to go home.
There's something in me that is refusing me to get into that vehicle right now. Because
I can probably get you to go in that limo from what you said.
Before Hannah delivers the coup de grace.
So, I have had sex.
Say what?
Yeah. And Jesus still loves me.
He finally does leave. And she ends the season engaged to a country singer named Jed Wyatt. Earlier in the season, Jed confessed that he had committed the ultimate sin in the Bachelor universe.
When I signed up for the show, I was so clueless. I was open to the idea because I love love. Mm-hmm. I do. I love the idea of it. But my first thought was, this is like a huge platform. Mm-hmm. And I just want you to know the truth.
In other words, he had been there for the wrong reasons. But now that he was really falling in love with Hannah, he wanted to come clean. You don't do this in the Bachelor universe, unless you want to get sent home immediately. But Jed was making a sophisticated play here. What could be more powerful than coming clean, showing the Bachelorette that the power of love had overcome his ulterior motives? Of course, the punchline here is that while Jed was bearing his soul, he was withholding an even more damaging lie. After the season was filmed and before it went to air, his ex-girlfriend told People magazine that she and Jed were dating when he went on the show. After the season wrapped and Hannah and Jed were engaged, Hannah confronted and broke up with him on camera. The Bachelor is a competition show. 30 players compete for the heart of the titular Bachelor or Bachelorette. But that is just the first level at which players are competing. There's also public favor up for grabs and the perks that come with it. Social media followers, casting on future reality shows, and business opportunities. Which raises the question of motivation for cast members. If you spend any amount of time around the show, you will eventually encounter the phrase, the right reasons.
All of this was falling for somebody that wasn't here for the right reason.
For the right reasons.
For the right reasons.
For the right reason.
For the right reasons. For the right reasons.
On The Bachelor, the right reasons means joining the show out of a genuine desire to find love. But the existence of right reasons makes you wonder, what are the wrong reasons? Who decides the rightness or wrongness of anyone's reasons? And if the game is rigged, are you really cheating? I'm Patrick Redford, and this is Only If You Get Caught, a show about breaking the rules.
All right. Are you ready to play Cheat Sheet?
I'm locked in.
All right. I'm putting a minute on the timer. And just a reminder, in this 1 minute, you have to tell me who benefited from the cheating, who was the arbiter, what was the rule that was supposedly broken, and what are the stakes here. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Let's go. 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay. In this telling, the person who benefited from this form of cheating, if you really want to define it as a form of cheating, which I guess is the more interesting question, is a contestant on The Bachelor or Bachelorette who wants to not find love, but find 10, 100 million, 1,000 Instagram followers to sell them bullshit online. Well, I guess that's one form of, one benefit you can have, but there's all kinds of benefits of getting famous. Who the arbiter is also a very interesting question because theorists of the form, Chad Kolchen and Lizzie Pace, posit that there are 4 audiences that a player is playing for, which is, of course, the Bachelor themselves, their fellow contestants, the audience at home, and the producers who are manipulating the narrative and sort of crafting what seems to be a more spontaneous show. The rule supposedly broken is that you join one of these shows to like actually find marriage, that you are like, whatever, you need a partner and you want to get married, and the way to do that is to compete with 29 other people for the love of someone on ABC, which, my parents met that way. Surely your parents did. It's sort of a classic American form. The stakes are, I guess, that the stakes is maybe the interesting question, because on one hand, holy matrimony. On the other hand, reading Instagram Reels ads with the words popping up below your face, which, I mean, I haven't really achieved either. So who's to say what's more beneficial? Did I do it in 1 minute?
Wow, I think that might be a record for the show so far.
Wow.
We're at 90 seconds.
Oh, that's okay. That's acceptable.
Amazing job.
Wow, thank you. The Bachelor premiered on ABC in 2002, and it drew big ratings when that sort of thing mattered. It spawned several spin-offs and generated lots of discourse now that that sort of thing matters. For as long as reality TV has existed, The Bachelor has reigned over it. The basic conceit is simple. 30 or so contestants vie for the love of the Bachelor or Bachelorette. Over the course of the season, they go on group or one-on-one dates with the lead and are eliminated a few at a time. The setup hasn't changed much in 2 decades, and it seems especially straightforward compared to the newer reality shows. The Ultimatum, for example, forces couples on the precipice of marriage to simulate breaking up and conducting a number of trial marriages, both to their original partner and to some relative newcomer. Love is Blind, another Netflix show, locks people in boxes and has them speed date each other without seeing each other. Those formats are much more complicated than The Bachelor, and even if they all set marriage as their ultimate endpoint, they run on a fundamentally different logic. The newcomer shows force people into unfamiliar dynamics, meeting the core improbability of finding love through a game show with equally improbable scenarios. Whereas these newcomer shows treat the institution of marriage with more playful flexibility, The Bachelor has a decidedly serious tone. Love Island makes The Bachelor look especially archaic. The most successful couples on Love Island are simply closed off, which is a nebulous relationship state between fucking around and exclusivity. These people are not getting married. Whereas the newcomer shows treat the institution of marriage with playful flexibility, The Bachelor's tone is much more serious. Yes, it's totally unrealistic to expect to find love on a reality TV show, but contestants must never acknowledge that. They must pretend to eat their fake dinners on dates and squeal with genuine joy when they find out they're being flown out for a romantic getaway to Cleveland, Ohio. They must continually frame their involvement in this Baroque spectacle as for the right reasons. Right reasons has become such a central part of the Bachelor ethos that in 2013, Soulja Boy appeared as a guest on The Bachelorette and produced a song called Right Reasons with the season 9 cast.
I got a fake broken leg, a girly back comb. What? I thought if I'd limp, she'd throw me a bone. Oh, man. I'm jobless, I'm homeless, she's a means to no end. Yeah. I'm here to get famous, not to make friends.
Dad, you got him. Keep going.
Right reasons, right reasons. Can't feel your girl for all the right reasons. Right reasons.
If those are the right reasons, what are the wrong reasons? Simply put, to be famous.
I mean, on a personal level, I have no problem if people want to come on any show predominantly to help their career or start a new career as an influencer.
Emma Gray and Claire Fallon host the podcast Love to See It, which originally started as a Bachelor recap podcast, but now covers all kinds of reality shows and romantic comedies. They are deep Bachelor scholars.
But I do think they have to be compelling enough to warrant that. And in my ideal world, they would also remain open to a relationship. Like, what I find to be distasteful as a viewer of these shows is when people come on the show like with another partner. So in a way that would necessitate every single romantic declaration coming out of their mouths as a lie. That feels like cheating. Coming on because you're like, I don't know, could be cool to get a brand deal if I do well on this thing. That just seems inevitable. That's the world that we live in. Like, if you have a platform, you can use it however you want.
Yeah, the idea of cheating is interesting in the Bachelor format because obviously there are so many things that might be considered cheating in a different context that are fine in Bachelor world. Like if you want to get extra time secretly with the lead and you can swing that, that just shows how committed you are to advancing your personal relationship with them. Like people might get mad at you, but are you really wrong to want to get to know the lead better? Is it against the rules to try to get to know the lead better? If you want to whisk them away in the middle of a group date, in the middle of a competition, instead of doing your part in the competition, is that cheating? Like, no. So what is cheating? Almost nothing, I guess, except for secretly not even wanting to be with the lead, I guess. Like that is the only crime that they can really settle on, because anything else that the other women or men on The Bachelorette can point to, the lead will just be like, well, I like that they want to step on all of your toes to get closer to me. That works for me. Being there for the wrong reasons is the only thing that kind of pisses everyone off. And so that has to be the grand crime of the show. If there's any other thing that someone's doing, they have to pin it on, well, I think that she's here for the wrong reasons.
And I think that that's exactly why we've seen that like moral structure be used on other shows.
Yeah, it keeps coming back to that.
We see it on Love is Blind. We see it on The Ultimatum. We see it across a ton of different franchises.
Yeah, and one more thing I wanted to say is that I think that there is an element that is very similar to like cheating in a sports game, which is that once people who are watching find out that you're not putting your like real emotions out there, they feel like it's not fair. It's like that other competitor was really putting everything into it. They were being vulnerable and authentic. Like they really wanted to marry that personal trainer from Utah. And you don't even care. Like, why am I investing time in watching your story when you don't care? It does feel sort of similar to me to being like, why do I care about your home run, record if you, unlike your competitors, were taking steroids, right? Like you're not putting yourself out there in the same way and being judged by the same metric.
If you're enjoying this episode of Only If You Get Caught and you're wondering how you can support us, the best way to help the show is a 5-star rating and review wherever you're listening right now. The fame chaser is subverting the show. If a contestant is found to be there for the wrong reasons, they're treated like most sports would treat a cheater. But it's not that simple. Consider all the different people a contestant has to perform for. There are the other players, all jockeying for position. There is the audience at home, picking favorites. There are the invisible, yet omnipresent producers, manipulating the parameters of the show to assist or harm contestants. And finally, there is the Bachelor or Bachelorette themselves. Strong contestants will be able to charm all 4 audiences simultaneously. And you can only do that if your reasons are at least a little bit wrong. After all, what the Bachelor wants out of a partner is going to be different than what the producers want out of a good reality show.
The lead is the only person who really has a genuine stake in whether the people that they're dating are there for the wrong reasons, right? For the rest of us, it's like, it's all spectacle. It doesn't matter. For the lead, they're actually trying to figure out what these people want and why they're there. I think the interesting thing about the Jed move, just to circle back to that momentarily, is that when he disclosed that he's there to promote his career, it actually plays into such a strong romance novel trope, which is like,
exactly.
There's nothing more romantic than the guy who's there for the wrong reasons, but you're so lovable to him, so desirable that overcame all of his most cynical intentions. And I think that's why even the wrong reasons charge is kind of hard to make stick on The Bachelor, because there's always the possibility that your love is stronger than his original goals or her original goals.
But I guess that's why I say that the key is being able to convince people that were still open in some capacity. Like you can be there initially for any reason.
Yeah.
But your feelings for the lead have to appear authentic at a certain point, or it reads like very bullshitty to the audience, and people will turn on you, even if you are entertaining in other ways.
The chances of winning The Bachelor are so low, and the prize is essentially an arranged marriage. Compare that to the potential prize of making a big splash on your season. Hundreds of thousands of Instagram followers, maybe 1 million, reading sponsored ads for colostrum powder on your podcast, the chance to go on other reality shows, like Special Forces, World's Toughest Test, where an ex-British soldier pretends to put you through boot camp. After finishing her Bachelorette season, Hannah Brown went on to compete in and win Dancing with the Stars and then Special Forces, World's Toughest Test.
But I just feel so much more confident. I'm just really proud to be standing here, making it to the end. But I cannot wait to have a real shower and wash my hair.
Returning to the example from the start of the show, let us consider our two doomed contestants, Luke and Jed. The audience hated Luke, but he was there for what the show says you're there for, a very evangelical coded marriage. In other words, right but unrealistic reasons. Jed, on the other hand, was absolutely there for the wrong reasons, but the story he crafted of overcoming them was so compelling, both to Hannah and to the audience, that he won.
Yeah, so if someone is there for the wrong reasons, and they succeed, then what they get is obviously social media followers, a platform, a lot of screen time. You know, the goal is to become sort of a beloved public figure. And a lot of people from The Bachelor become, you know, relative to the scale of the franchise, you know, beloved public figures. You know, you have a figure like Tyler Cameron, who did not win the show, and he got to date supermodels. He got to launch his own reality shows. He became a professional celebrity. And that was through, you know, convincing a lot of viewers of the show that he was not only handsome, but pure of heart. And I don't know what his intentions were for going on the show, and I'm not going to say that they were for the wrong reasons. But I think anyone who goes on the show for the wrong reasons, you know, to succeed and get that reward, we probably still need to be convinced that they were there for the right reasons. And so I think that's an example of what someone might look at and say, if I play my cards right, I could not win the show, not have to break anyone's heart, but instead I become famous, I become beloved. There's sympathy that accrues to me because I didn't get engaged to the lead. And then I just get to make money by influencing, and I get to go to cool events.
Yeah, I think the thing is that if you are there for the wrong reasons and you succeed, we don't know that you were there for the wrong reasons.
Right.
Look at Wells Adams, who is now married to Sarah Hyland. He's arguably one of the most successful crossover celebrities.
There's also Madison Pruitt, one of the more nefarious stars to come out of the Bachelor franchise. She managed to parlay her season on The Bachelor into a career as an evangelical influencer with 1.8 million Instagram followers, multiple books, and a podcast where she tells her audience they should submit to their husbands.
If you're not familiar with Maddie Pruitt, she was on Pilot Pete's season. Pete famously fucked in a windmill like 4 times. Maddie was like chaste, like she was religious. She was going to stay a virgin until marriage. For some reason, he wanted to choose her. And so they had a big confrontation about whether she would have sex in the fantasy suites or whether it would be okay if he had sex in the fantasy suites. And she left. Ultimately, he went after her and it didn't work out. But now she is married to the son of a billionaire, and they are cool, young, like youth pastors together.
Podcasters.
Yeah,
and
who do an evangelical podcast.
She just talks a lot in really like cool casual outfits about how it actually is natural to submit to your husband.
Yeah.
And if your husband is good with Jesus, then you're going to be good.
Yeah.
And that might be, you know, by voting for Donald Trump, who can say?
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that particular sort of grift, she's really identified now as like the right time to just cash out.
Oh, no, she had perfect time. She was early to it, to be honest. And she really just like did not make that a clear part of her Instagram platform until the last couple of years. And so she was able to grow this really large audience. You know, she and her family would like go to like MAGA conferences and like Photoshop out the lanyards. And now she's allowed to be her true self.
There's so many different flavors of this. And, you know, there's Caitlin Bristow, who her thing was just being super messy and sex positive. And she built like the biggest podcast brand and like lifestyle brand.
She and Nick Viall have really crossed over and found post-Bachelor success in this like hosting podcasting space.
And Rachel Lindsay
and Rachel as well
went also into like entertainment journalism and then also the podcast space as well. A lot of people from that like 2015 to 2020 era of The Bachelor were able to build media careers that were quite successful. And yeah, none of them were people that were seen as like truly inauthentic. I think Nick was seen as an asshole, but that's, I don't know if he was seen as a wrong reasons guy. Just an authentic asshole.
So people aren't successfully pivoting as much anymore, like post 20. Do you think that's just like a collapse of the influencer space or like a saturation?
I
like,
think there's so much competition for people's attention and eyeballs now. You know, the podcast space is pretty flooded. So you'll see people start shows and then have to end them because they're not lucrative. People are across different social media platforms, TikTok, Instagram, etc. And so I just think like the fandom is more diffuse and there are just like so many reality stars now. I think the most recent breakthrough example we've seen are the central characters from last season of Love Island USA, who are like now getting that spinoff. And they broke through in a way that I think really no one had in the reality romance space for a while.
And I wonder like what's like, if you have to just raise the stakes higher and higher, like what will you have to do to break out in like 2025, 2026?
But I think it's like, it's not something that you can plan for. Like one of the most charming things about Leah, who was one of these like 6 breakouts, arguably the most successful of the breakouts of last season of Love Island USA, is that while the show was filming, because it's all edited and aired in real time, you see that her perception is that the audience hates her. And that worked in her favor because it was incredibly charming, where she's like, I'm being myself and I'm sure people think badly of me and this is who I am and these are my flaws. And it just came off so authentically. And her joy when she learned people liked her when she came off the show was like true shock and awe. And like, that is just a thing you can't fake. Like that is situational.
Right, because that could also play really badly. Like, you know, there's no controlling that. Or like the big influencer of the moment who has a breakout podcast could be someone who just was doing a little TikTok interview and does the Hawk Tuah thing. And like, you just did a whole season on The Bachelor and no one's as interested in your podcast as the girl who did this one viral moment. You know, it's a very crowded space.
I guess I find a sort of like almost a beauty in that like you can attempt to gamify and like divert these like streams of attention and sort of like pervert the form to like for your own gain, but there is no established like metagame to do that. Like you actually do have to speak this language of authenticity at some level to like succeed in this quote unquote inauthentic way.
Well, that's the thing, and that's why I think we have always resisted the total read of reality dating shows as analogous to competitions, pure competition, pure games. So there's this like mix of narrative and game, and you can predict certain pieces, but like the rules are ever changing. The thing that is going to appeal is ever changing. And so there are certain pieces that like simply can't be strategized.
That brings us back to the big question of this episode. Are the wrong reasons a form of cheating? I don't think so, because the audience doesn't think so. When you watch reality TV of any kind, the layers of artifice between the show and the audience can be off-putting. It's so clear how many situations are staged for drama. So many people appear to be obviously acting rather than reacting how a normal human person would to intense situations. But the thing that makes it all work is that the show's performances aren't intended to be taken at face value. And they shouldn't be. Because everyone, the performers, the producers, and the audience, knows that what matters here is not realness. It's the performance of realness. Going on The Bachelor is a crazy way to find love, and everyone involved knows that. The quest for idealized marital love is less the end goal of The Bachelor's story than its narrative scaffolding. Within that quest, the real story unfolds. The density of performance and para-performance is impressive and difficult to pull off when the engine of The Bachelor is conflict. You can't please anyone or get any airtime if you aren't memorable, but you can't stay on the show if you fight too often or simply lose. If it were more rational, it wouldn't be as difficult. It's easy to think that this is fluffy nonsense. I think because these shows are primarily made for women, the fakeness gets emphasized over the more interesting strategy at play. And this isn't so different from the meta-performance that happens in sports or other parts of pop culture. When people watch a show like The Bachelor, or really any of its competitors, they're buying into all parts of the performance. But it's fun to pretend that this is all people trying to find love. At least as a theoretical exercise, anyway, I will probably stick to goofier and simpler fare like Survivor. Only If You Get Caught is written and hosted by me, Patrick Redford. It's produced by Alex Sujong Laughlin, with production support from Jay Toll Vieira. Editorial support from Tom Lay and Audrey Martovich. Justin Ellis is Defector's projects editor. Mixing by Samantha Gatzik. Show art by Jim Cook. Jasper Wang and Sean Kuhn are Defector's business guys. Thank you to the Defector staff. Defector Media is a collectively owned, subscriber-based media company. Only If You Get Caught is a proud member of Radiotopia.
Radiotopia.